Greetings upon greetings upon greetings.
I'm vexed with Dave today.
She's always vexed with me. Let's just get it right. Always. If it's not me, it's the dog. You know what? Sometimes I would out beyond the dog, but today I think I'm
doing the
beyond.
show because I'm a professional.
You're doing this because you're a professional.
Otherwise, I would have stormed out of here a long time. I have some chicken food soup waiting for me outside.
See, you can't even say it right.
Because I'm sick.
You can't even say it right.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hope You. It's a wonderful, beautiful Tuesday, which was kind of sunny. Then it was cold. And it was
breeze. Holy pa breeze.
Like, I don't know what's happening. I came outside in, like, no jacket because I think it's spring. Like, I forget I'm Caribbean.
She does it all the time.
I don't know what I'm thinking sometimes. And you know what? Mm-hmm. I do apologize, guys. Today I'm not at my 100%, but I'm going to give my 100% because we have some wonderful things to talk about. You know what I like about doing our show, Dave?
Talk to me.
Even when I'm mad at you?
What?
That we get wonderful guests in here who give me jokes.
Okay.
Who are very mature and dignified and are called sir. You know, we get the sirs in here.
Okay.
And we get the ma'ams, the madams, and we get good people who come in here and are doing great things on a serious note.
On a serious note.
No, and today's no
different.
No different.
Yes.
So I titled the show because I saw it. I actually stole it from them. Manly Deeds, Scholarships, and Love for All Mankind.
See, that's a wonderful title, isn't it?
This is why it's the Man's Dem show today.
And that's why, you have a bunch of sirs on today. I guess all three of us will be considered sirs, right? I guess because what I have.
Yeah, anyone who has gray hair is considered a madame and sir. I don't have that yet.
Hold on. A madame?
Let's jump into the show. Let's jump into
the
show. I want to say, of course, thank you and welcome everybody. And thank you to our production manager behind the scenes, Miss Anisha.
Big up yourself.
Big up yourself, Anisha. So, here to help. We've always felt very strongly about showing only the best in our community. Mm-hmm. And today, of course, is no different. We are honored to have two brothers out of many from the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I've been reminded to make sure that I add that Incorporated.
A lot of us, we don't put that in. I think that's a very integral part, of course, when it comes to the title.
Yeah.
But yeah, even like the other day, I was having a conversation with a brother of mine, and it was like, yeah, we get the Alpha Phi Alpha, but and I totally forgot about, of course, the incorporated
The
part.
incorporated is
Yeah,
important because I remember when I first brought on their sister group,
yeah.
I made that mistake of not adding the incorporated. They weren't mad at me, but just like get it together.
Get it
you
right.
know? So I got it
Uh-huh.
right this time. So
There you go.
let's talk about their genesis
Let's
a
talk
little
about
bit.
it. Yeah.
And then we're going to go right in and sit down with our two brothers.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to do, my eyeballs are bad. And I didn't bring my spectacles today.
You would never wear your spectacles on this.
You're right, I would.
Yeah, see?
So, Alpha Phi Alpha.
Go on with it.
The first intercollegiate Greek letter fraternity established for African American men was founded at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York by 7 college men who recognized the need for a strong bond of brotherhood among African descendants in this country.
What's interesting is that Cornell, that's the same university that Dr. Ben, Joseph Ben Yakinen, he taught at for a number of years.
See, you always have these like really good trivia pieces that I never know. That's cool.
There, go on with it.
You can explain the rest of that later.
Later?
Okay?
Okay, cool.
So what I want to do, because we don't have too much time, and I don't want to spend too much. The history is very important. I want you guys to understand where this came from because this is a huge.
They've been here for a while.
This is why they have incorporated behind it because
Yeah,
they've been here. They've been doing this. Okay,
Yeah.
so Alpha Phi Alpha chapters were established at other colleges and universities, many of them historically black institutions, soon after the founding at Cornell. So the first alumni chapter was established in 1911, and while continuing to stress academic excellence amongst its members, Alpha also recognized the need to help correct the educational, economical, political, and social injustice faced by many African Americans.
Yeah, very important areas of life.
So who can we say that, I wouldn't say, I guess would be good representations of them. So they've had a lot of African American civil rights leaders in the forefront. Did you do your research on them?
Actually, you know what? I've done it when I was in your office. So I got caught up.
This is why I'm mad at Dave today, guys.
Listen,
So
man. Go yeah.
the great W.E.B. Du Bois.
Yes.
Did I say his name properly?
Du Bois. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Talent intent. Yes.
Okay. Adam Clayton Powell Jr.
Oh, wonderful gentleman.
Edward Brooke. Brooke.
Brooke.
Martin Luther King Jr.
There we go.
Okay. Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah, another excellent.
And
excellent
there are
person.
many other names that I can add to that. But with our time limitations, what I want to do is kind of give a quick rundown of the actual founders, the jewels
Yes, please.
of the fraternity.
Let's do it.
And a little bit about them and what they've done. So we also have some pictures so you guys can obviously have a face to match the name. So Henry Arthur Callis. And he's often regarded as the philosopher of the founders and a moving force in the fraternity's development.
You know, like if you can pick one, and I guess like one person I can go back in time to actually sit down and have a conversation with, this would probably be him.
It is always, I'm always curious to how these things get started. Like,
Yeah.
how does that conversation start where it's like,
Exactly, right?
I'm going to start a fraternity. I'm going to do something that no one else has done before. I have no idea how this is going to be.
Right.
And to know that if he was alive, I'd be curious to see if he was alive, what he would think of what he
happened,
started.
Like, exactly, right?
You know?
I mean, you got the ball moving, right? So it'd be a wonderful, wonderful chance to go and pick that brain.
Charles Henry Chapman. He's described as the brother beloved in the bonds. So Chapman was a founder of Famous Beta Nu Chapter. During the organization days of the Alpha Chapter, he was the first chairman of the committees of initiative and organization.
Okay.
Okay, so another very important member. Again, 7 jewels. Eugene Nickel Jones.
Kinko.
Did I say it wrong?
Yeah. K-I-N.
I'm not wearing my glasses.
That's what happens.
I blame it on that.
Please
A
do.
versatile leader, he organized the first 3 fraternity chapters that actually branched out. And they're from Cornell. So that's Beta at Howard,
Okay.
Gamma at Virginia University, I can't even talk, and the original Delta at the University of Toronto,
Go on with it.
right here in Canada.
Yes, yes.
Okay. George Biddle Kelly. Thank you, darling. Became the first African-American engineer registered in the state of New York.
History right there.
Right? Like
Who'd
a
have thought?
lot of like history makers. So in addition to that, he served on committees that worked out the handshake that they currently have and ritual.
Ah.
So Kelly was very popular amongst the brotherhood, of course.
Yeah.
Like the man who comes up with the handshake must be popular.
Must be, right?
Right.
I tell you.
So who did I just say? Who was I just on?
We're on Nathaniel Allison Murray.
Thank you.
No worries.
So much of his career, it was funny because I was trying to find pictures, like actual pictures for everyone, but some of them were like, I guess just because they're old, I could only find like the artistic version of them.
Right.
So much of his career was spent at Armstrong Vocational High School in the District of Columbia. He was a member of Alpha Chapter's first committee on organization of the new fraternal group, as well as the committee on the GRIP.
Interesting.
Okay, so another, you know what, out of all of them, I'd like to know a little bit more about him.
Okay.
There wasn't too much, even when I did my research. I couldn't go in because that's not really what the show's about. This is just some background information, but it'd still be good to know a little bit more about what he did.
Of course.
So Robert Harold Ogle, did I say that right?
Yes.
I'm always scared. So he entered the career secretarial field and held the unique privilege of serving as a professional staff member to the United States Senate Committee on Appropriations.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was an African-American pioneer in his Capitol Hill position. He proposed the fraternity's colors. So there you go. This is the man behind the colors.
All right.
And was Alpha Chapter's very first secretary.
There you go.
Okay. And I think we have one more. One more. So, wow, don't mess this up, Simone. Vertner Woodson Tandy.
Now, that is a distinguished name.
Vertner.
Of course.
I want to hear the origin of that.
I tell you, right?
So Tandy became the state of New York's first registered Black architect with offices on Broadway and in New York City.
Oh, wow.
So Tandy was the designer of the fraternity pin, and he holds the distinction of being the first African American to pass the military commission examination. To be honest with you, I look at this man. This man looks like a serious brother. Like, he looks like he'd be into anything like military. He just looks like I would never want to be his child. Just the beatings would probably be real. So we're gonna go into more detail when we bring our brothers on next. But I know you're gonna get into this more. I just want to let people know some of the things that they are involved with, both internationally and obviously in America. So some of the things they're doing right now include the Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Boy Scouts of America, College Life to Corporate Life Initiative. They have a Leadership Development Institute, Peace Corps, World Policy Council, Brothers Keeper. My Brother's Keeper, I like that. A Voteless People is a Hopeless People. I really like that one.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I like that one. And go to high school, go to college.
Very important.
So you see the type of work that they are doing. So we are going to actually find out why are we even talking about this? Like, Simone, why does Toronto care? Why do we care? Because they're going to be here.
That's right.
They're going to be here this weekend. There's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of women, of men from America here. It's going to be like Caravana in spring. People don't even know. So when we come back, I'm out of the picture. It's going to be Dave. So proud of him. He's going to handle this all on his own, and I'm going to be doing my Oprah stuff in the back. We'll see you soon. I'm here to help you.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
Welcome back to Here to Help You. I are Dave Ranking. And guess what? We now have the brothers from the Alpha Phi Alpha Incorporated in Canada in the building with us here today. I want to go ahead and send a special thank you to both of you. To my near right, this is Philip August, and of course to my far right, Brian Wilkinson. I'm going to say hello. Hey, Whitaker?
This is why I'm here. Everyone, I'm still here.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to support you, of course, in your show, and to make sure that we make it a good one for your audience.
Thank you so much. So when we get done, we got to say, let's get the obvious questions out of the way. So, and first is now, what attracted both of you to the fraternity?
First, oh boy, the old guy goes first.
Oh boy.
The old guy goes first. So, well, let's put it this way. So, in 1999, I was in school, undergrad, and there were associations at that time that were present on the university campus.
Okay.
But nothing to the extent of what we're a part of now.
Okay.
And also in the city, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
So, after reading, the autobiography of Malcolm X, after reading certain things and getting to know a lot about the movements, the civil rights and whatnot, it was a question of, okay, where is that presence here?
Okay.
Now, of course, that's not to say that there wasn't, movements here in Toronto, in Canada. Of course there was. But just in a coordinated effort on such a scale. So for me, when I heard about the fraternity and I did a bit of research, I saw who was connected to, folks that you mentioned earlier, and that really pulled me in.
Okay. And for yourself?
I would say for myself, it was quite a similar story. I was at University of Toronto. I was involved in a lot of community work, and it was actually one of my mentors who suggested, "Hey, why don't you join Alpha Phi Alpha?" To which I laughed at. I said, "Obviously too busy, so I'm not going to do that."
Yeah.
But then I started to take stock of the membership and people that were involved, who I also knew through the community work that I was doing.
Okay.
And I realized that, I think it was similar to Philip when I realized to what scale I could be involved and to what scale the organization was operating at. It was definitely, something that intrigued me, both from a personal perspective, a personal development perspective, as well as what we could possibly do within the city for the community.
Wonderful. So when we're talking about, I guess, like the early days of the fraternity for both of you, what were those days like for both of you during that time frame?
So I was, as I mentioned, I was quite busy as an undergrad. I was involved in the community. I was chapter president of the Black Students Association at U of T Scarborough.
Okay.
To be confused with U of T St. George.
Okay.
They don't like that very much.
No, we don't.
Always drawing a line in the sand. Huh?
It's not worried. So, it was definitely a very dynamic time. We were all sort of with that youthful angst, trying to figure out life, and at the same time, trying to figure out the deeper questions of life and what all that was about. And so I think for me, being involved in the organization was it was so refreshing. I was involved in things that I couldn't have ever imagined, to have been involved in. I think I was talking with Phil on the way over here about some of the stuff that we did while we were in undergrad, the traveling to the States and seeing the conventions at a larger scale,
right?
Meeting doctors and lawyers and community activists and people who were very engaged and passionate about what they were doing. It had us come back to Toronto with a very unique perspective. For me, it was extremely dynamic. Great.
Wonderful. How about yourself?
Yeah. So the early days, as we call it, because as Simone mentioned, we actually had a chapter here in 1908. So, there are those early days, and then there are the early days that I experienced. And it was interesting because at the very beginning, obviously being a small group, it was myself and two others that joined in 99, and there was no one out there like us.
Okay.
So there were fraternities, there were sororities, but not to reflect us and the type of issues that we tackle.
Right.
And so the first challenge, actually, I can say was that it was just to make people aware of what type of fraternity we were.
Okay.
So the early days, was really more about spreading the awareness and educating folks on what we really stood for,
Right.
what the organization stood for.
Okay. And of course, let's look at the challenge now. Now, let's look at some of the responses that both you would have received at that point in time. So now, what was some of the pushback like at that point in time? And Brent's smiling, so this is gonna be real good.
Well, as Philip mentioned, as Brother August mentioned here, that there when you mention fraternity, people get a certain image in their mind.
Right.
You think about what you've seen in
The movies.
movies.
Right.
It sounds, both, equal parts, party time, rock star party time, and
Right.
equal parts terrible. You've seen all the hazing videos and all that stuff. So it took a long time to have people understand we are not that. We're decidedly not that. We do stand for a greater purpose, which is the aims of Fred, which are manly deep scholarship and love for all mankind. As somebody who was kind of, average student who had ambitions in life and things I wanted to do, it really, for lack of a better term, it challenged me in a lot of ways in terms of what I was actually about. So in order to explain that and express that to people, a lot of it was just in terms of the actions things that we did. And so there's only so much explaining you can do before people are just going to sit back and watch what you do.
Right.
Yeah, and that just to add on to what Brian just mentioned, that's actually what it came down to. It came down to not just doing the explaining, but the doing.
Okay.
So the pushback that we were getting had to be responded to with action, and that was how we were able to get people to understand. You know what? These brothers are not what I'm seeing in the movies, not what I'm seeing in the media. And so based on the things that we were a part of at the University of Toronto and also in the community over a period of time, it was able to kind of put us in a different light where folks started to say, oh, okay, now I get it.
Right.
Now I see it. And they were able to make those connections with the history that y'all talked about, with the figures that are aligned with our organization.
Right.
So to say, okay, now we see where it's coming from.
Okay, beautiful. What were some of the earliest initiatives back then?
So I can speak to that. So one of the earliest things I would say is, so as I mentioned, when I came on board with the frat in 1999, it was two other brothers along with me. So one of these brothers, Brother Ike Okafor, him and myself, we were, I want to say, at the inception of the Black Student Association in the University of Toronto. So he actually had a bit more than I did in terms of involvement at the very beginning. But then, being his fraternity brother, I came on board, and we actually really tried to make the Black Student Association into something more than just a student association. Something that was actually able to go beyond the borders of the community of the university, so stretch into the community. So we ended up where we had initiatives that were not just in the school, but outside of the school as well. And so those are, I'm just giving you an example of one of the kind of things that we actually took a concerted effort into building and creating, not just for ourselves, obviously, but for other students and also for people in the community.
Yeah, because you're looking, these are definitely legacy pieces, right?
That's
And
it.
of course, to be associated with something as large as this now, of course, it's going to go ahead and amplify what you guys do.
That's
right?
it.
We got about a minute left before break. I really want to get into the relationship between Sigma, and I hope I said this right, Epsilon Chapter, the alumni. How does that relate now, of course, to the Alpha Phi Alpha, and so on and so forth?
So this so just to
Bridge the
say it
gap.
correctly, it's Sigma Epsilon Lambda.
Okay.
So Sigma Epsilon Lambda is our alumni chapter.
Okay.
And that's here in Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna speak to that?
So, I mean, it's really just an organizational question, right? So in each city, you're going to have chapters. Some are undergraduate chapters, which is what we joined back at University of Toronto. That was Sigma Iota. And then Sigma Epsilon Lambda is our alumni chapter. So it's going to be mostly professionals, people working. And the aim is to support things that are happening on the ground, as well as connect with other organizations, branches of government,
I see, I see.
That's
Okay,
right.
no worries, no worries. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. I'm here with the brothers from Alpha Phi Alpha. We're gonna go ahead and, of course, have a wonderful, meaningful dialogue, especially regarding, of course, the upcoming events this week. Stay tuned.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile. Be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a fellow turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night came down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worst that you must not quit.
We back. Our Dave Rankin alongside two brothers from the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I hope I probably stopped the words around there, but I did it right, did I? Oh, well, thank you so much. Right. In the middle here, we have Philip August, and to my far right, Brian Whitaker. I had it right the first time when I switched it. I gotta trust myself a little bit more. But let's get right into my next question here, which is now the Canadian presence. Now we know that back in, of course, in the early 1900s, the Toronto chapter was established here, and then I take it it died out for a little bit, and of course now the resurgence. How instrumental, of course, were both of you now with that resurgence?
Well, I would say very, because for myself, starting in 99. 99 is actually when the fraternity presence returned.
Okay.
So when I joined with with my line brothers, what happens is essentially when you join, you're part of a line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your line would be consisting of whatever number of other brothers joining at the same time as you.
Okay.
So for me, it was fall of 99.
Mm.
So my line name We have line names when we join. My line name was Resurrected Legacy.
Okay.
So Resurrected Legacy is the name that we came up with to represent, show respect to what came before, which was in 1908.
Okay.
And then to show that we're just continuing on with what the fraternity is trying to do.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, with respect to now the presence of the fraternity, how hard has it now been now, for instance, now to attract more members of the SINOF within the community, to be more aware of guys, like what you guys have been doing and so on and so forth?
Well, I would say that it harkens back to what we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So there is still that issue of culture in Canada.
Right.
So if you go down to Howard campus, for example, you're going to meet historically black priests from all various organizations.
Right.
In Canada, we don't have that same sort of we don't have that historical presence. We have a presence, and there's lots of organizations and lots of members that people may know individually, but for example, University of Toronto may not have as the institutional presence
Background.
isn't there. The background isn't there.
Yeah.
So, but as the same way that we sort of individually were attracted to the organization and joined is the same way that new members come in today.
Mm-hmm.
What's that guy about? What's that organization he's about? He seems to be doing things a little bit differently, and then from there, people tend to be attracted in that way. So there is a something that it takes in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily, in New York City you may not have to, but it's definitely growing and the presence is building.
Yeah. Because I think to add to that, essentially it's like you see something, you hear about it, your cousin in Texas might be a part of it, but there's always that threshold that exists, that threshold of curiosity that you have to get over.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's incumbent upon us to help people to get over that threshold of curiosity so that they're willing to, take a step forward and say, okay, let me actually see what's going on here. Let me talk to these brothers. So in terms of, folks that are interested or thinking about, should I be a part of this? It's like anything else. If you don't engage it, if you don't actually just experience some of it,
Right.
you don't really get how, how it could benefit you.
Hey.
That's right.
And if I can just add one more thing, the way the design is, it's intentionally not like a mass marketed thing.
That's right.
Because it is for, there is a level of commitment that comes in. It's not, like the gym membership you get and then it's like, oh, I'll go when I feel like it. It's
right.
Like there's accountability. And so, if I live in Calgary, which is in Alberta, so there's a physical presence that I don't have with these guys. But if I miss a deadline, my phone will ring at 3:00 in the morning.
Okay.
Somebody's going to call me.
Someone's going to call
you. This has to get rectified and dealt with, and there is no, there really is that familial accountability that you don't find in a lot of other organizations.
Wonderful. What would you say, for both of you, one of the biggest lessons learned from joining the fraternity and being part of the fraternity for all these years?
That's a big question.
That's a
big question. There's a lot of lessons.
Where would I begin?
There are a lot of lessons.
Well, give the viewers some sense of, guys,
Well,
something.
Okay. So for me, I would say one of the biggest lessons is that there comes a point in time sometimes when you join something, when you join a group of people, a community, I'll call it.
Okay.
There comes a time where you have to consider, okay, am I in it or am I not?
Okay.
Right? So everything starts out gravy at the beginning.
Right.
Everyone's happy, everyone's, running around smiling. Mm-hmm. But when the work begins, that's to me when the test starts.
Yes.
Right? So for me, the lesson has been, because I want to say that I've been a presence in the Toronto existence of Alpha Phi Alpha, and now, well, I guess it's 20 years now. I shouldn't have said that, but anyways, it's 20 years now, and the thing is that for me,
she called you sir.
She's calling me sir. For me, it's like that consistency. Mm-hmm. So I was able to break through whatever the wall is that some people have, after the beginning to really understand the power of being present, of being consistent. So for me, that's the lesson that I took from it.
Okay. And for yourself?
I would say it's a very similar vein. In a very similar vein, it would be the integrity piece.
Okay.
Of you joined it. There was a reason why. At times you will be tested as to what did I do this for again? Why is my phone ringing at 3:00 in the morning?
Right.
That is the difference between being able to turn away and kind of let things lapse and say no. There's a real reason for it. And as we talk about some of the issues that the community faces today, with any community, you're going to have a diversity of opinion. You're going to have a diversity of thought. And in an organization like this, there is no getting up away from the table because you didn't like something somebody else said. It's, we're going to sit down and we're going to deal with it healthily and constructively. We're going to deal with it. And that is something that I think has kind of I've taken away into other areas of my life, my professional life and my family life.
Oh, beautiful. That's wonderful. Because you know what? I think one of the biggest challenges that people do have, of course, is that commitment, right? Of course, having that 1 foot in, 1 foot out, either going all the way in, definitely, right? And of course, well, maybe not. Was it really for me? Or can I turn back at this point in time, right? So, I mean, to show that for yourselves, who've been, of course, part of this organization for quite some time, shows in regards to like the type of character that you all have grown to be, right? Which is definitely something which is reflective and should be reflective in our society, especially as men, because we all know in regards to like the situations and of course the stigmas that media has to portrayed upon us, right? And now to go ahead and see that with such level of commitment, more importantly, the brotherhood aspect of it, how you're able to go ahead and uplift each other, right? Is something that has been lacking amongst us men, right? And definitely it's something that we can all go ahead and take as an example going forward. So we thank you very much for definitely go ahead and at least sharing that point, because I know it's a tough question to go ahead and answer, because there has been lots and lessons, whether it be hard luck, press luck, or simply it's simply just good fortune along the way. But definitely thank you very much for going and sharing that. We're going to take another break. When we do get back, of course, we want to talk about the upcoming convention, because it's very important we go ahead and ensure that we get this message out there. So stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with these messages.
William Ernest Henley, 1849 to 1903. Invictus. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Hello, my name is Anisha. I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truths you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
I had to come on. Like, you guys know me. Like, I had to. This is very necessary for me today. So, gentlemen, again, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Like, you guys, I was doing research on your organizations. There's so much to research. I stopped after like an hour or two. I was like, okay, like this is information overload. Let me just maybe talk to them directly and find out a few things. So I want to talk about the 3 poems that we showed, the Invictus, Don't Quit, and If. Tell me why these 3, because these are the 3 that I saw most often repeated on your YouTube pages. What is it about these 3 poems, and why do you guys utilize these? Because I've seen them even used in events where your brothers will actually be saying these poems as well. So let's talk about that for a quick minute.
Mm-hmm. So these poems they're very important because I want to say that it has something to do with what we both mentioned in the previous segment. It's that when you're trying to accomplish something, it's not always easy to stick with that thing, to stay focused, to stay passionate, and I want to say more importantly, to understand why. So these poems are great reminders in terms of having yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically ready to be able to take on tasks that maybe others would not be willing to take on. Take on those hardships that others may not be willing to take on. So these poems are essentially resources to just remind us and to keep us energized in order to be able to do the things that need to be done for, of course, for ourselves and for our community.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as an organization, I would say, during the trying times, I think about things like, post-financial crisis. There was a lot of personal things that I think people were dealing with as a result of the time period that we were going through. Right. The time period couldn't be less relevant to the work that we have to do. And so, when you have something that can, re-energize is really good. Yeah. I like that word because that's almost what you're trying, you need to do, because you need to take on these tasks with the same kind of alacrity and initiative that you would if everything's okay.
Yes, very true, very true. So when you say re-energize, is it kind of like when someone like goes to sleep and then they get a call at like, say, 3 o'clock in the morning or so? No? Are you already up when you're making these phone calls? Because guys, I'm snitching. He's the one who does the phone calls.
Snitching.
It's
3 o'clock in
it's
the
a bad
morning.
habit.
His brother is such a good brother. His brother wouldn't snitch on him.
I tried.
But I am not
Right.
one of the brothers because I'm a girl. So I was allowed to snitch. So he's the one making the phone calls. So if you're in the fraternity and you're getting phone calls, you know who it is now. It's Brian. Brian Whitaker.
I'm gonna blame the time zone difference.
Capital BRIAN and then Whitaker. Whitaker. All right.
That's right.
So let's talk about some of the things you're doing in Toronto before we go to this weekend, because that's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some of the things you've actually done here in Toronto.
So in terms of for example, we've tried to set things up so that it's not just about the organization as a whole, and I'll explain why I say that in a second. But it's that we can sort of tailor things in a way that helps us here in Toronto. And the reason why I say it is because, as you mentioned earlier, some of the organizations that the organization works with in the States, it's not the same here.
Mm.
So, for example, the March of Dimes is in both countries,
Right, but they operate
completely different, cultures, ways of operating.
Right.
So what we've had to do in terms of our programming, our events, we've had to tailor them to what we have here. So to give you an example, during the elections, we were working with Operation Black Vote and a few organizations like that, and trying to help those organizations to expand more on the things that they're doing.
Okay.
So we've been doing you had Claudine on a little while ago.
Yes.
Now Claudine had her Level Up Youth event,
Yes,
which was an amazing event because and I went to support her. So she was doing something that I thought, what, an Alpha Phi Alpha presence has to be here because it's something that is just is what it is, right?
Right.
We also have we've been a part of the I think it's the run for MS, the MS run. So that's in Mississauga. We've been a part of it. So
Okay.
we've done things like that.
Very nice.
You can't forget New Year's Day.
Oh,
You can't forget the
You
polar
can-
bear dip.
This is the king of the dip. I'll leave that to you.
I mean, so we've every January 1st. Doesn't matter what was happening on New Year's Eve. Doesn't matter how much of what was happening on New Year's Eve was happening on January 1st, 10 a.m. We're down on the beachfront at Lake Ontario to run into Lake Ontario, but for good reason. We raise money for various charities in the city. So previously it was Habitat for Humanity. They make houses for lower income families. And now it's the CYAC, I believe is the name of the organization. It's a similar vein. It helps young families who are going through abuse and just specifically with children and women. So we raise money as a chapter leading up to January 1st, and then January 1st we all take our clothes off, and it doesn't matter what the temperature is.
No,
and
we don't
run on it.
We don't take our clothes off.
So
No, we don't.
So we haven't quite gotten there yet with Brother August, but his phone may ring
I've
at
been
3
once.
o'clock in the morning on New Year's Eve, and he may be involved
And
in
it will be
January 1st,
Brian.
2020.
I've been once.
That's my personal mission.
I've gone once, and I can tell you, I would eat a whole pot of chicken foot soup than to get back in that water.
You know what? I would eat that soup with you if I had to get into that
Oh,
water.
you can join us as well.
No, brother.
So-
That's all you. Not
Personal
happening.
mission. Personal mission.
Not
Just know this will be
happening.
my personal mission.
I will donate lots of money before I go jump
Or you can
into
do
cold
both.
water.
You can do
I'm
both.
good. I'll watch you guys. So, fire and ice. Speaking of cold, this weekend, guys.
Yes.
Let's let people know what's happening. What is going on this weekend? How many men are going to be in the city for the women to know? Let
I
them
like that segue.
Listen, I'm trying to
I like that segue.
trying to do some things for my women out here in
All
Toronto.
right.
You know.
So, we're looking at, I'd say about 1,200.
1,200. 1,200 in suits, ladies.
in suits
All right, continue.
coming up to Toronto for our convention, the 87th Midwestern Region Convention. So this is an annual convention that we have each year. This is the first time it's here in Canada. First time.
Woohoo!
First time.
Caravana in spring.
That's right. That's the sub headline that we have under the convention. So all I'm saying is, ladies, if you'd like to come out and support us, please do. We will be all dressed in suits.
Suits. It's like
and
Men in Black.
celebrating Caravana in spring at the Delta Hotel at 655 Dixon Road.
He's giving you guys address.
I'm giving you the address.
Turn up. Thursday night they're having something that I think that might just be like members only.
Yeah.
And then Friday night I'm reaching.
Friday night we have a stroll-off competition. So for all of you who've seen School Days, who've seen all the other, movies where they do stepping Nick Cannon and, all that, Friday is the night that you want to come and see it all happen in real life.
Tickets are at Eventbrite.
Tickets are on Eventbrite. Thank you for that. And Saturday we have the Fire and Ice. Mm-hmm. That's where we partner up with the Delta Sigma Theta ladies, and it's going to be fantastic.
So for the men, there's also going to be lots and lots of women here from America. Beautiful women, successful women, talented women. Just remember that. Okay. Guys, thank you, brothers, for coming in. I appreciate you. I appreciate 3 o'clock callers, shot callers. I appreciate the chicken foot eaters. I appreciate you.
I was trying to keep a straight face, but I don't
know why they're trying.
I couldn't.
I'm foolish. Thank you guys for coming in so much. And I'm looking forward to the event. You know what? For me, I'm one of those people who I've always been interested in it, but I've never seen it. So this is a great opportunity just to be part of the experience. So definitely, I will be pushing this video out, and I'll be there all weekend, guys, doing lives. I'll be there, and I'll be writing about it. So you guys are going to see it in next week's paper. So don't worry if you don't get to make it, but I really hope you guys do. I'll be doing a full write-up on everything that happens this weekend.
Can I say something?
Maybe. Hold on. Okay, your time's up, but okay.
Okay. So I just want to say, please donate to our Toronto Landmark Project. Donate.utoronto.ca. We have a GoFundMe page. It's gofundme.com/Toronto Alpha Bench. It's one word. Please support us. Check us out at www.sel1906.ca.
And we will put that information. I'm also going to get that information, and I will put that also up on the YouTube so that you guys can get all that out there as well, and people can get that all in one place. Thank you, Toronto, as usual, for putting up with my antics. We thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. And I'm hoping to see everyone this weekend at Fire and Ice Caravana in the spring.
It's going down.
Big up your sauce. Bye, everybody.